Welcome everybody, Shir number 906. We're learning today L'Refuah Shalema Freda Golda Bas Esther and Leila Nishmas Moshe Dov Ben Rabbi Zisel Leila Nishmas Blima Bas Rab Moshe. Getting back to our malacha of MAKEH B'PATISH. Okay, I just want to talk in reference to again, it's MAKEH B'PATISH, Tikemana all together. Just real quickly, a few ins and outs in reference to a Sheitel, brought down the Hilchos Shabbos Kehilchasa. The Sefer Lamites Malachas explains it a little bit more detail. Now, I just want to explain one thing. When it comes to combing and brushing and these type of things, when a regular hair, a person on a regular hair on a person's head, that one in general, standard halacha is you're not allowed to comb, you're not allowed to brush. Now, we'll get into when we talk about the malacha of goizes, shearing, how that works in conjunction. There's possibly certain ways just to rub one's hands through their hair to straighten it out. When hair on the head, that's no problem, but using an actual comb or brush, regular hard comb, is not allowed. Then we're going to see when we talk about those halachas how it works, if possibly there is a very soft type of brush. Okay, we're not going to get that right now, but so I just want to make the sort of disclaimer that anything we're talking about combing and styling and these type of things has nothing to do with regular hair. It has to do with a sheitel, which is obviously not attached to the person's head. It's not the hair that's attached to the person's head, where the isurim are much worse. So he just brings down real quickly in reference to combing and styling a sheitel. Somebody has obviously a brand new sheitel. Combing and styling a new sheitel, he brings under the Sefer Lamites Malachas, would be MAKEH B'PATISH because of the styling and makes the sheitel properly functional. You're making it mamish from not usable to usable. Even if there's no cutting, trimming, these type of things, of course, cannot be done. There's another problem, which again we'll talk about a little bit more in detail when it comes to pulling out hairs from a sheitel. It could be a problem sometimes of kaireya, tearing. But we'll see. We'll try and get to it a little bit more detail when we get to goizes, shearing in conjunction with the hair. So that just real quickly in reference to our malacha, that's what he brings down to the Sefer Lamites Malachas. Obviously, a new sheitel, you can't go through the whole thing. Combing, styling a new sheitel is MAKEH B'PATISH because you're making it functional. He brings down not just that, but any sheitel, old or new, that became undone, it became all messed up badly from the very strong winds or whatever the case was, not be combed and reset on Shabbos. Again, the same thing, even though it's trimming and cut. There's no cutting, no trimming involved in these type of things. It's just I can't wear it. To get it back into shape, that can be done. Okay, so now the other part of it is we spoke a little bit about this in reference to boina also, but as far as spraying, the Sefer Shmir Shabbos Kehilchasa brings down, in order to say, let's say I want to spray my sheitel, right, to keep it in place. So what does the spray? These type of sprays do? We're talking about specifically sprays that keep the design of the sheitel, right? Keeps the hair strong and so on, and that's what does. That's what keeps it. So the Sefer Lamites Malachas brings it down that is not supposed to be done. In reference to using these type of sprays on a sheitel, one is not, just to read it from the Sefer Lamites Malachas in conjunction with what the Sefer Shmir Shabbos Kehilchos has said, one is not allowed to use hairspray, unscented as well as scented. We're going to see how it works with scented. When you have a spray, something that's scented, you're not supposed to be spraying it on materials bechlal, something that has a smell to it, but we'll see how that works. That is also part of Tikkun Mana. But right now, as far as the fixing of the sheitel, one is not supposed to be used to use hairsprays, whether it's scented, unscented. Make a difference, with a smell, without a smell, on a sheitel on Shabbos or on Yom Tov for that matter. Spraying is also. On an old sheitel, he goes further, does Sefer Lamites Malachas, spraying is taka asa on an old sheitel as well as a new one. Spraying cannot be permitted on the same basis as gentle brushing and touching up of a sheitel. In other words, it's not the same thing. We're going to see sometimes a little bit brushing or touching up possibly on a sheitel could be done, but spraying is different because of the fact that the spray is designed to hold the hair in shape, right? That's why a person uses the spray on the sheitel, hold the hair in shape for as long a period as possible. Obviously, you want to keep it in shape. You don't want it to get all messed up, and the spray keeps it strong. So therefore, the spray brings out a significant improvement in the sheitel that is characteristic of a major conditioning and not a minor restoration. Again, we went through this quite a number of times, that it's when you're dealing with a major conditioning and not just a restoration, because I want to keep it intact for a while, then that's where you're running into a problem. Now, I do want to make it clear again, the same thing, just like we said with one's hair. If somebody uses their hands, let's say, and they just, straighten out hairs or whatever on their heads, the same thing by a sheitel, just very lightly, without spray, touching it up here and there with their hands or whatever, that, of course, is no problem. So just to read real quickly from the Sefer Shabbos Home, again, the same thing, quoting again he brings also from the Ketzos HaShulchan, also from the Sefer Shmir Shabbos Hilchos. Basically the same thing. If it's in bad shape, if a wig lost, a sheitel lost its shape, it's usher to comb it back into shape as it's considered repair. And the same thing, like we said, that's Ketzos HaShulchan, and he says also the Sefer Shabbos Home, it's also usher to spray the sheitel, whether it's old, whether it's new, in order to stiffen up and preserve the hairs and so on. Okay. Now, I just want to stress the fact that we're dealing in general with a sheitel basically that lost its shape. Again, just slightly touching it up. He does bring down to the Sefer Shabbos Home, actually, in the first volume, on page 164, that there are those who, again, when we get to geizes, we'll talk about it more, but there are those who permit a light combing and brushing, not on the hair, but on the sheitel itself. Just touching it up here and there, but not using any type of spray. And of course, as long as it's still wearable, it wasn't messed up like by wind and so on, or in a case whereby it lost its shape or so on. And then because of the fact that you have to, that's a question of your mamish. It's a real tikkun on the tikkumana on the sheitel itself. So we spoke about the hairsprays last time. Also, in general, hairsprays in general, even on the hair or so on, one has to be careful not to use it, because of this reason, that it's taka made to hold, even on one's own head, sometimes by payas and so on, it's made to hold the hair in place. Just using, with water or whatever, these type of things lightly, not squeezing the hair and so on, that is fine. But it's the hairspray itself that's specifically made for that purpose. Okay, we'll stop over here. Just real quickly, just bringing out the point from today's shir, that in general, any type of spray that's made to either keep the hair in place, strengthen the hair, or strengthen the hair, whether it's on the wigs or on a sheitel or on somebody's hair, whatever the case is, one has to be careful not to use on a Shabbos. Thank you for listening. Atzlach and Baracha Kol Tov.